Welcome to the GrowFL video series. GrowFL is Florida's only organization exclusively dedicated to support and accelerate the growth of second stage companies. We do this at GrowFL by providing leaders with focused, efficient, and timely access to resources that they deem important. And we hope that you find this video cast extremely important and useful in your business. This series is designed to capture the success stories of our GrowFL members in a medium that is accessible to you, to our members, at your convenience. My name is Daniel Gillum. I am a GrowFL Advisory Committee member based here in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. And today it is our pleasure to host the one and only Gwen Griggs with Advos Legal. Gwen, welcome to the GrowFL videocast series. How are you this morning?
I am super. Daniel, great to be with you. Great to launch this project together. Really excited about our time together today.
Absolutely. Well, I would love to start out with getting to know a little about you and about Advos Legal. From there, we will go into your experience with GrowFL. So if you could spend a few minutes, give us a little background on you and Advos Legal as a firm.
I'll start a little bit with Advos so that it makes sense, and then fill in a couple details of how we got here and why we're doing what we're doing. But 2015 launched Advos Legal as really an alternative to the traditional law firm model. My background had been big law. I'd been general counsel of a company, had been in a operational role with a company, and my co-founder, Whitney Harper, had a similar background, big law, general counsel, operational. And what we realized was there's some core things that every lawyer needs to do exceptionally well, like delivering the legal service. But the pricing model and the measurement tools that we use and technology really haven't changed much in the last 50 years. And there's an opportunity that we live in a time when we can use technology in a way that can serve the client better, that can give them more transparency and clarity around pricing in particular, because historically pricing is pretty opaque and hard to measure, because if you're billing by the hour, one lawyer may be able to do that in 2 hours, one may take 10, work products aren't consistent. Technology can help with a lot of that. And that was the bright idea that we got really passionate about delivering, and especially to sort of middle market companies, privately held middle market companies. We wanted to serve them in a better way.
Where are you located? What clients do you serve in this digital and remote work environment? Where has been your focus on growing your firm?
Sure. So live in Ponte Vedra, and our offices are also in Ponte Vedra, just a couple miles down the street. Jacksonville, obviously Ponte Vedra and Jacksonville are pretty closely aligned. So a lot of our clients are North Florida based. And frankly, I'll jump into, we knew we wanted to expand the footprint and began hiring people in other markets to do the same thing that we were doing in this market. This gets a little bit into the lesson learned. And in the world we live in today, we're able to do so much remotely, and right, we're here on Zoom, we're not physically together. And we realized that we could, from our place in Ponte Vedra, serve clients throughout the state of Florida. And GrowFL has been a huge part of helping us spread the message and meet great other entrepreneurs and referral partners, and really expand the reach with people who are focused and dedicated on second stage businesses.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that segue, right? I think you have a fairly unique history with GrowFL. So I'd love to hear more about your GrowFL experience. Why did you join? Was there a specific question that you set out to answer through your experience and involvement with GrowFL?
Yeah, mine goes way, way back. So I'll try to be as quick as I can about it. But I think there are some points in there that are worthwhile. I launched my first law firm in 2003 and had been in big law firms serving big companies, had been the general counsel of fairly large companies, and really believed, also because we were doing a lot of acquisition work. And so I had a chance to look at the way smaller companies were run and the valuations that we would put on a company if they were run well versus a company that wasn't as careful about crossing T's and dotting I's. And so in 2003, when I launched the firm, I really thought, if I can serve those companies that maybe didn't have access to the same kind of information, help them get and stay deal ready, right? That's worth focusing on. And I'm a researcher at heart. So came across the Edward Lowe Foundation and an article research they had done, building entrepreneurial communities. And it resonated with me, like North Florida, focused primarily in North Florida, but so many elements that made North Florida a community that should be building its entrepreneurial community. And at a macro level, I think about really the American dream and what makes this country great, and the impact that entrepreneurism and entrepreneurs have to create great cultures, to solve big problems. CEOs are passionate about their business. They're the ones that won't sleep at night, doing a lot of hiring. And so that article was my first introduction to sort of the relationship with GrowFL. And we did some work up here, building the community locally, sort of in conjunction with GrowFL. But I've always been really closely tied to what was coming out of UCF and the state. Some of the elements that they focused on, second stage business owners, CEOs benefit from a peer networking group and from hearing the stories of third and fourth stage business owners of how they got through. So here locally, we did a lot of that on a quarterly basis. We were bringing in the big CEOs of big companies that had taken their company through second stage and how they got there, lessons learned. Great initiative. 2012, I was with a company that was honored as a Florida Companies to Watch. Ann Sabag at Health Designs was the honoree, and I had nominated her and was part of the company at the time. So we celebrated in 2012, and then in 2019, Advos was recognized. So we went through that application process, which is a really rigorous process, and were recognized. Our team had just a phenomenal time at the event. So I encourage anyone to attend and bring their teams. It's a really great celebration. And now I'm on the I'm on the board and marketing objective committee, and then I lead the regional chapter as well.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you're definitely all or nothing. I mean,
I don't know how to do it any other way. If you know me well, you know blinders.
Well, I love it. So
all in.
So you have this interesting history in how you found the organization, but you also have a unique perspective of being part of a recognized GrowFL company, and then also leading a GrowFL fastest growing company. So what were your biggest takeaways in maybe those two different perspectives would help some of our membership and potential members recognize the value that they may find with the organization?
I'll probably speak a little more to the Advos experience, because that was so much deeper and more involved. Like it was our idea, right? It's our idea. It's what we're really passionate about, and then being part of that community and of 49 other founders who were also there to celebrate. It was just a great honor, because I know how rigorous the process was, and definitely from a team member perspective, as the CEO, you're in the middle of it, grinding it out every single day. And it is not easy and not natural to pick up your head and say, wow, we've really done something that's worth celebrating. And to do that with your team and to let the team know, like, this, what we're building is worthy of recognition, and you're part of something. That was the first time we did that, and you really realize how valuable that is.
GrowFL has many different programs within the organizations, depending on what a founder or a CEO is looking to, what benefits they're looking to reap from their time invested in the organization. Are there specific programs that Advos has leveraged within the GrowFL portfolio of services? And if so, what were those, and what have been your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, there is a lot. And honestly, even though I'm on the board and marketing objective chair, I probably couldn't tell you all of the things that GrowFL does. And in the last few years, I would say huge, the sponsor relationships and the value add that the sponsors are bringing to the quality of the materials, the quality of the content, adding value. I think everyone who's part of GrowFL would say, how do we add value? How do we help those second stage businesses grow in a really healthy and strong way? So we've done, as I mentioned a couple of times now, Florida Companies to Watch, which I can't say enough about. It was just such a great experience, a lot of fun, a lot of celebration, and beginning to create a community of other CEOs who are in the same place and have lessons learned. I'm absolutely a huge believer that we learn more from what we did wrong than what we did right. And if you can be part of a community where people are willing to share the things that maybe didn't go exactly the way they wanted it to go, there's so much learning that can happen. And the world is changing really quickly too. So you can read a book, but the book's at least 3 or 4 years old. And so getting real time, what are things happening right now? There's a webinar series. There's a Leadership Institute. Leadership Institute is coming up next week. For CEOs by CEOs, and sort of that same, everything circled around how do we create a community and how do we learn from each other and from those who've gone through the various levels. I mean, even second stage, $1 million to 50 million is pretty wide. Someone who's a $2 million business, can learn a lot from someone who's a $30 or $40 million business. Yeah. All building this great community and at a statewide level, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, that is exciting. And I love that you've reiterated the fact that it's a community. There's value in the interaction that we have with each other. And I think a lot of us are missing that interaction from the last 18 months of our lives, right? So I'm glad to hear that we're going to be back in person and reconnecting with our fellow entrepreneurs and co-founders. One of the other things that you mentioned that really resonated with me is that learning from the mistakes that we've made ourselves or that others have made in building their business. Is there something that comes to mind for you, whether it's with Advos or with withholding names, but with some of your experiences with some of these other entrepreneurs that you would share with our audience?
Sure. Well, I touched on one, which was we have this very innovative approach to how we serve our clients. And we thought that we could hire in another market and sort of train on our system and way remotely. And we learned really pretty quickly. It was an expensive mistake, but we learned pretty quickly that wasn't going to be a successful way for us to expand, and that the people who work day in, day out see how we're doing it differently. And then we can build that kind of headquarters here, but still be able to serve and reach more broadly, but focused here. The other mistake, or the thing that I watch that I find interesting as I watch second stage businesses, is frankly, like the sales cycle and the sales structure. So I watch companies, and I know it's not legal and legal issue. I should probably be talking about legal issues, but I find it fascinating because companies from a business model standpoint will say, I'm going to hire a whole bunch of salespeople, which in a way is what we did, right? And when we hired someone in Tampa, I'm going to hire salespeople and they're going to sell, and the CEO has always been the one selling. And so how, then they try to find, resellers or distributors or partners, and it's just this fluctuation until they find the right business model on the sales side that's going to be the right one for their business and what is the best way to scale. The legal stuff that we see is most commonly is ownership of IP, right? A lot of people don't understand what it means to own their IP, and they think that they do. I call it a messy cap table. So they've told people they're going to offer them shares and interests, and they haven't documented it well. People have misunderstanding what that means. And those are some of the big issues that are hard to solve. Like a lot of issues are issues that might be significant, but we can figure out a way to solve them. Those are two that if they're not solved early on, can become significant issues later on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that GrowFL is focused specifically in that second stage space, because these issues that you're bringing up are rampant, but they also need to be addressed before they get to that next phase of business growth. So I echo everything that you're saying. And that's why I'm so passionate about getting involved at GrowFL and wrapping our arms around our entrepreneur community and helping us all grow together. So in wrapping up our conversation, what are the next steps for Advos? And what advice? Well, let's start with that. What are your next steps with Advos?
Yeah, so we law firm is strong, and really I feel so fortunate. We have the best clients in the state. Work with businesses who care deeply, and we're able to serve them well. That's solid and in a great place. We've in the last year or so launched a consulting and software platform for professional service firms. So sort of our way of doing things that has project management elements, and making sure we're focused on the most important priority, eliminating friction in the delivery of professional services. We've separated that out into a separate company and are starting to get some traction there. We actually thought law firms, but our first client was a law firm, second client CPA firm, and then we're having a lot of conversations with professional service firms that bill by the hour historically, want to get away from that, but aren't necessarily law firms. So interesting to see where that goes, and excited to see where that goes. And back to that, you're wanting to make a difference, wanting to add value, right? Certainly thrilled that we get to do that with our clients. And then this gives us the opportunity to help a firm help all of their clients. And so it's sort of that exponential impact that definitely gets you up in the morning, gets you excited about what you're doing.
I think it's fascinating that so many businesses that have had lumpy cash flows are migrating to the membership or subscription-based model. And I think it's for two reasons, right? One is the clients are stickier because they are already paying for a service. Why would they leave? The revenue models are more predictable. And then, as we all know, your valuations are much higher. So I think it's interesting to see the migration there. And I think you're on the forefront of that and coming out of COVID. So I admire your ability to pivot and head down that path. So what advice would you have for second stage businesses as they evaluate GrowFL as an organization that they should be a part of?
One is to talk to people who are involved and hear about their particular experiences. A really simple way, though, too, is the website has a rich amount of content. And I always think every business has a pain point. All right, there's pain points in every phase and every chapter. And so identifying what are those pain points, and and looking at both the online presence and the in-person presence, and seeing if that might be a place where some of those pain points can be discussed and vetted and get some great advice. We're doing regional chapter meetings in all 4 regions throughout the state. That's a really easy, lightweight way for someone who might be interested in learning more about GrowFL to show up at a meeting, talk to their regional president or whoever, chapter president, whoever's on the board. Like if they know they're coming, if I know someone's coming, I'm going to make a lot of effort to make sure they meet the people in the room and make some connections there. So that's probably the easy lightweight. It's in your area. You don't have to go to Orlando for Florida companies to watch, unless you're already in Orlando. Then you should go to Florida companies to watch. But
that's right.
For the other regions, be part of the local.
Yeah, that is easy. And I think we're all, again, like we alluded to earlier, ready to get back out and get reconnected in our community. So congratulations on your continued success and your new venture. Congratulations on being recognized as a company to watch for GrowFL. And just thank you so much for your time today and sharing your experiences with the organization. We wish you all the best and continued success.